Good evening, everyone. This is Atmospheric Alex here, and welcome back to another U.S. weather forecast outlook and discussion. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the upcoming pattern change in mid-January. Could you all see a ton of cold air, a ton of snow? Are you going to be left with a ton of warmth and wet conditions? Well, in today's video, I'll give you all that information and even a little bit more. So as we start off the video with our analysis data here, you can see we do have quite a lot of snow flying around across the Northeast right now. Some pretty hefty snow squalls are being observed in some portions of Pennsylvania, New York over there. Actually, some shelf clouds have been observed with some of them with some strong winds. So definitely quite some crazy conditions out there across some of those areas. Have a lot of rain in the Pacific Northwest. Not too much more to talk about. A light clipper system for northern Minnesota, but that is about it. As we take a look at our alert map, we are very active here. We actually have 3 snow squall warnings currently in effect up there in the Northeast for 0-mile visibility, heavy snow, and strong winds to go with all that. That's something to really watch for. High wind warnings across portions of Montana. We're going to be seeing some very strong, damaging winds moving through your area over the next day or two. And then everywhere else looks relatively quiet for right now. But it's definitely not quiet across the Northeast. You can see snow squalls will continue throughout the duration of this afternoon into this evening. And then even overnight, we have a few more snow showers passing through New York, Bridgeport, Boston area, and a little bit of a clipper system up there through the UP of Michigan. Not talking about too much, delivering some nice snow across Buffalo, Syracuse tomorrow morning. And then we're going to have even more snow flying around and a much more hefty clipper system that could bring the risk for some freezing rain, some icing concerns across northern Wisconsin and the upper peninsula of Michigan. But yet again, these are not very intense systems at all for this time of year. You'd expect a lot more activity, even some warm air, some rain in Michigan. Wow, okay. I guess winter is just leaving us behind, right? I mean, rain all the way up there, that far north. Alex, what pattern change are you exactly talking about? It's not going to get that cold anytime soon, right? Well, you would be wrong. We're going to take a look at our European model here in terms of our temperatures. You could see it is going to get pretty cold going into tonight, into tomorrow morning. Look at this. Low temperatures in your 20s, but we're going to see some brief rebounds up to around 60 degrees in some portions of Arkansas and West Tennessee into Tuesday afternoon. But then we see another big blast of cold air. Look at this. Seeing low temperatures in the teens across a lot of areas. I don't really have to circle anything. You could see, I mean, that is definitely some cold air moving through. And it does not warm up much. A high temperature of 29 in East Tennessee, that's kind of remarkable. And this cold air, we get another big hammer, Arctic hammer moving in. And then you could see the temperatures do begin to moderate a bit. I am expecting a very, very sharp, intense Arctic boundary to set up. If I draw this, I'm going to draw it in this color here. It's probably going to set up somewhere within here. North of there, you could see snowstorm activity. South of there, you could see quite a bit of rain. So it's going to be a very sharp thermal and moisture boundary that is going to set up. Very fascinating. But you could see the European model does want temperatures into the 60s and even the 70s across the south and the southeast. Gosh, I mean, is it ever going to be winter down there? Or are you going to be stuck with your warm temperatures? I mean, after the pattern change, there's going to be a lot of uncertainties, right? But look at this Arctic boundary. This is going to be very sharp, and I really think with us heading into a more favorable phase for winter weather, I don't really think we're going to see warm weather creep this far north. Our Arctic boundary could get a little further south, and snow chances are going to continue to rise up, in my opinion. Just my opinion for now. Our GFS model is a little bit different, but also a little bit of the same as well. It shows your warm air going a lot further north, almost 70 degrees in Oklahoma. That's remarkable. Again, if you don't know what the date or time is, just look down here. This is where it will always be on my videos, right there where I've circled. I'm very grateful that Synoptic Weather does allow that, because if they didn't have that down there, you all would be extremely confused. So good for them. And you can see we do have our cold air coming through. This model, the GFS, 8 degrees. That's a little bit ridiculous. And you could see how our cold air does continue, and we don't really warm up. We moderate here and there, but it's just not like spring warm up. Not like what we saw, I guess you could say, a week or two ago. Absolutely nothing like that. Again, you could see our sharp Arctic boundary. This is way too far north on this particular model, and you could see it sagging down to the south. I do think we could be in for a snowy time even past the 2-week mark. That remains to be seen, though. How about our precipitation? Is our European model still holding dry? Last night, I can tell you it was not. It showed some crazy action towards the end of the run, but you can see we do have some snow showers floating around here across portions of middle to east Tennessee, even about a moderate snow there for portions of the Smokies as you get your low pressure system cranking. We're going to have to see how that system tilts. If we do see a negative tilt to that low pressure system, we could see snow being flung a lot further to the west, and I was going to circle in an area, but the GFS shows us perfectly, so we'll wait for then. A little weak clipper system does move through West Tennessee, potentially. That could bring some snow flurries, a little more snow for East Tennessee as well. That's what you want to hear. But then it's really just going to be awkward out there. Maybe some more rain, snow for West Tennessee, but it's going to remain mild. Not warm, but mild. Like temperatures in the 50s, basically. And you can see as we get towards the end of the model run, stuff kind of hits the fan and gets a little bit chaotic, and what on earth are you seeing there? That is ridiculous, right? A lot of icing, and really far out, so not a forecast. Our GFS is quite a bit different with our first system here. It comes crashing down from the north here, but it is a lot more juiced up and has a lot more of a negative tilt to it. As you can see, there is snow breaking out across Memphis. That is certainly something to watch for Wednesday evening. And then we'll see how much cold air winds up crashing down if all this green here turns blue. But look at that, some moderate snow, heavy snow moving in East Tennessee, heavy snow consistently for a long amount of time. The GFS wants to show a northwest flow snowstorm, not only for the mountains, but the foothills, the valley, the plateau. Everyone gets involved on this model run, but it is not a forecast despite it only being 100 hours out. This is very uncertain. Snow cranks across North Carolina, going to Virginia, into the northeast, and it really begins to ramp up there. Again, there's a possibility of this, but the models are really uncertain. After this, I am really watching carefully from the 16th to the 19th, that time frame. I do believe a snowstorm is going to be possible of, say, kind of portions of this general area right within here, at least for now. We're watching very carefully here, as we could be talking about a little more snow than what models are expecting, but we'll have to wait and see. Some snow across West Tennessee, and it does get going a bit across East Tennessee. Nice little brief event there, but then kind of warm air takes over, and we really don't see much else after that. But a lot of energy in the Gulf. I'll tell you, if we have this cold air a lot further south, which we could, this would wind up being a pretty significant event, but it slides on by, no harm, no foul. And as we go into our goofy range here, or I guess our fantasy range here, if you will, see, I just don't buy the warmth just yet, and I'll show you why at the end of the video. The European ensemble here, in terms of our lower level temperatures, paint quite an intriguing picture. You can see our first system here. Notice, all right, I want to really point this out here. Notice how it's crashing down like this. All right, this is honestly quite far west, and this is exactly why we could be talking about quite a bit of snow through middle and east Tennessee, possibly. Please pump the brakes on that. I'm not calling for a snowstorm in East Tennessee, but could we maybe see an event where we get a dusting to maybe an inch in some areas? Absolutely. This definitely is a favorable look for exactly that. But a low pressure system will form off of this. And again, this looks very far west, so we're going to have to continue monitoring this if this becomes more wrapped up or not. Then you can see that secondary Arctic blast right behind it coming down as we back it a little bit. It definitely comes down quite far west. Again, that's something to watch. Then things moderate off to the east, and that's when your snow chances decrease further to the west. But as we get towards the end of our model run, just look at how stabilized your polar vortex is up here. This is a really strong polar vortex signature, and it slowly sags further and further south until at the end of the run here, we really are going to have to watch for any energy kind of coming out of the west And we're going to have to see. We could be in for a snowy time for portions of maybe the central U.S., possibly, especially the eastern U.S., maybe even into late January, early February, as we hit peak climatology. You don't need much cold air to work with at this time of year for something big to happen, right? Our GFS, we're going to go through this a little bit quicker here. This piece of energy drops so far off to the west. I mean, that's a good look if you want snow for your Appalachian Mountains and even to the east of that. That moves through. This is a lot more significant, a lot deeper on your GFS ensemble here. This is some extremely cold air, talking in the negatives for sure up to the north. And my goodness, take a look at this trough here. I mean, exactly like this. Very intense trough of cold air moves on through right there. As we head into the 19th and the 20th, and that kind of moderates on out. But again, after this, I really think we need to watch late January. We could have something kind of sneaky move through. Look at this. Again, I like to look at your 30-degree Fahrenheit line. In this scenario, it is all the way down here, right? All the way down here. So definitely calling it quite close there, and I expect this to continue moderating off to the south, mainly due to your winter weather phase, and I'll show you that again later on. Your Canadian ensemble, let's just really quickly look at this here. Big blast of cold air, another big blast of cold air far off to the west. And at the end of the model run, it says exactly what I was saying, but a lot further off to the south and a lot more of a favorable look. So just, I am not sold on that warm-up yet. I'm really not. I mean, we're going to get a little bit of a mild period, but again, late January is probably going to get cold again immediately after the pattern change. Going to have to watch this closely. And we have a lot of mechanisms working way up high in the sky here, and we're seeing this here. We have a really strong ridge out here along the west coast, the western U.S., and a really strong trough here across your eastern U.S. So if you have a ridge of high pressure, warm air to the west, you're going to have a trough of low pressure, cold air to the east. That's basically how meteorology works in a nutshell. That is very important. You can see his drops, again, quite far off to the west, so you're going to see snow in some areas. But your second one here, wow, look at that. Again, staying off to the west and consistently to the west, which is some really good news for you snow lovers. But I mean, look at your trough right within here, your signal kind of digging down like that. So definitely not going to be a cold and dry pattern with a look like that, and that just kind of stays around for a bit too. And even after that, again, we're just going to have to watch our progression of our southeast ridge down here. I don't expect it to build nearly as much as the models are saying, and you can see at the end of our period here, things get a bit interesting again. We have, once again, a tall spiking ridge up here all the way to Alaska, and again, a trough out to the east. Very classic look for snow. Yeah, I mean, we'll see, right? Only time will tell. And our GFS ensemble, going it quickly through time, this actually digs even more intensely than the European. And just look at this. I mean, that is a very good ridge up there. That goes all the way up to Alaska. This is exactly what you want to see. And then look at all your cold air diving on down to the east. So only time will tell. The southeast ridge will likely get squished in the long run, though. And your European extended here does show a little bit more love for your central U.S. in terms of your snow mean. This line right here is the line that is of most importance. Look at that. Look at how far south that line goes. So something really interesting to note. And then you do have a few members getting even further south. Holy cow. But, you know, it's the little things. If you look at what it looked like yesterday, kind of focus over here in this area of Arkansas, West Tennessee, Mississippi Valley. That's what I went to say. You can see that was yesterday. This is today. We have seen some pretty good improvements across this area, mainly due to your trends after the upcoming pattern change that are possible. Not a forecast, but is quickly becoming a realized possibility. One last thing here is your Madden-Julian oscillation, otherwise known as your MJO. This is extremely important here. You can see your dates right here. It is currently January 10th, so I'm actually going to reduce the size of that. You're not going to be able to see anything if I do that. That's January 10th, note the 10 right there. And we're currently in phase 6 of the MJO. And what does this essentially mean? It basically means where all your rising air is located in your world. So you can see this line right here, follow it on through as we go into the 15th of January, into the 20th of January, and then we begin to enter phase 7, and then we race on off to phase 8. Phase 7 and phase 8 are very favorable for snow, okay? And even getting down into phase 1, if you can get that in the phase 1, you're definitely going to be talking about some snowy times ahead. So seeing it go into phase 7 and phase 8 means that the southeast ridge on your long-range models will potentially get weaker and weaker and weaker, and our cold air up north will be able to dig further south. And we could even see more energy because of this pattern, thus and increasing our snow chances across a large chunk of the US, at least, kind of, I would say, east of the Rockies, if you will. That's what this pattern favors, and it is pretty strong here. I mean, 2 standard deviations here, if you kind of look, I mean, that's definitely going to get you somewhere right within there. So something to really watch out for as we head into late January. And again, why I think that the models are not really picking up on this just yet. And when they do, definitely going to be some interesting times ahead. Alright, I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, please be sure to smash that like button, subscribe to my little corner of the weather community, share this video with friends and family on social media, and even leave a comment in the section below if you enjoyed the video, if you found it informative, because it certainly was. I tried to go in as much detail as humanly possible, but that is just what I love to do. It's my passion, right? You all have a wonderful evening and a wonderful night, everyone. Stay weather aware out there in the Northeast. If you have to travel, you might want to pull off to the side if you see a snow squall coming, because you're not going to be able to see what's in front of you. And for everyone right within here, stay tuned. Stuff could get active soon.